In this video, I'm going to show you how to build a simple multi-platform notification system in N8N because a study at Harvard found that companies that contact a lead within 5 minutes are 21 times more likely to qualify that lead than if they wait 30 minutes. We're going to do this using N8N, Slack, and Gmail. And by the end of this video, you will have learned what a basic workflow structure in N8N looks like, what HTTP webhooks are, data transformation basics, error handling fundamentals, and how to test workflows out in N8N. The step-by-step instructions we're going to be following in this video are inside my Skool community, AI Automation Masterclass. The link is in the description. And without further ado, let's jump right in. So step one, we're going to set up our webhook trigger. So before we do that, what is a webhook? So imagine your house has a doorbell. When someone presses it, you hear the ding dong and you know someone's there, right? So a webhook is exactly like that, but for apps and websites. So when someone fills out a contact form on your website, it basically rings the doorbell of this N8N automation. It sends the data through like the person's name, email, whatever data you had in your form, and that triggers everything else to happen automatically. And so like another practical example is, if you think about Uber Eats, the moment you hit place order, multiple things happen instantly, right? The restaurant gets notified via a webhook, your credit card gets charged via a webhook, the driver gets alerted via a webhook, and you also get a confirmation text again via a webhook. So all of these are triggered by webhooks, because without webhooks, your automation would have to constantly check, did someone fill out the form? How about now? How about now? Kind of like an annoying kid that asks, are we there yet? Every 2 seconds. So webhooks let the form say, hey, I have something, only when needed, basically. So if we come back to N8N, I'm going to click create workflow. You can set up an N8N account for free. You get a free trial for 14 days. And here, if we come into add step, I'm going to choose webhook. This is going to be the URL that people send data to. If you don't completely understand this now, it's completely fine. I'll show you a demo once we've started building this out. So if we come back to our instructions, so we add the webhook node, we set the HTTP method to post. So here we set this to post. We copy the webhook URL, which we will do in a second. So we come in here, copied this URL, and we're going to test it with sample JSON data, which we will do using this software called Postman. If you don't know what Postman is, it's a software you can download, again, completely free. It allows you to make API requests to services or pass data to webhooks. And I'm going to show you that in action now in a second. So now if I copy my webhook URL and I come into Postman, I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to make sure that this is set to post. I'm going to come into the body and I'm going to enter this JSON structure of name, email, company, and message. So I have my name entered in, my email, company, and message. And if you don't know what JSON objects are, they're basically just a key value pair data structure. And so this object basically indicates that the name we are submitting is Adriano Menezes. The email is adrian@engagementsource.com. The company is Engagement Source, and the message is interested in your AI automation services. So let us take a look at this in action. So once we're done setting this up, we will click on listen for test event, and you will see that our webhook is now listening basically. And so if I come in here and I send this request, we will get this message saying workflow has started. Sometimes you may also see accepted. And if we come in here, can you see that we're getting all of this data from our request that we made? Like these are all headers. You don't really need to know what those are. But the main thing we're concerned about here is this body. And now that we have our data coming in, we're going to transform this and make it a little more presentable. So in step 2 here, we're going to transform the data using the set node. So if I come in here, add a new node, say set, I am going to choose this lead name, and I can add fields or drag them in manually, but I'm going to choose lead name, and the value of this is going to come from the body's name value. So it's going to show up here as json.body.name, which is basically an expression which indicates to this node that I need you to take the name field's value and plug it in into this lead name field. So we have the lead name. Similarly, we're going to now set up the lead email. We're going to drag the email field in. Then we're going to set lead company, drag the company name in, and then we are going to choose lead message, drag the message in there. And lastly, we are going to enter the timestamp of when this came in. We're going to choose, and here we're going to enter an expression which is basically now. This basically will just take the time at which it is currently entered. So it's a date time object. um yeah, so this is how we're going to get our form values. In another video we'll talk about different data types, like number, boolean, arrays, objects. But string data types are basically just your text characters. So that's it for this section. We've now set up our edit node, and just to give you a few examples and what it basically does. So our webhook node in this case is like the front door that receives visitors. It catches all of the form data. A set node is going to be like an organizer that labels things. It cleans up the data, and then we're going to take this neatly formatted information and then send a message using Slack as well as Gmail, which we're going to set up next. So if I come back to my instruction doc, we're now going to send a Slack notification out. If I hop back into N8N, I will click here, add a new node. So Slack, we're going to say send a message. Now in here, you're going to choose which account you want to send it to. I've already got mine set up, but if you hadn't, you can just create a new credential. You can use OAuth. You say connect my account, and it would take you to this login page for Google. You can just click allow, and that will be it. So I've already got mine set up. So we're going to come back in here, and we've chosen our Slack account. The resource we're going to be is message, operation send message to. We are going to send it to a specific channel. In there, we will choose one from our list. So I've got this list of channels set up in here. If you didn't have any, you can just click on add channel, create a new channel, blank channel, click next, give it a name, demo channel N8N leads, for example. Click create and close out of this. If we come back to N8N, we can choose channel, from list select a channel, and here we'll see our demo channel N8N leads, simple text message, and in there we are going to set this up. So we're just going to copy this across. The message text is going to basically be this. So our name field is going to be our email, our company, and our message field. And we're also going to include the timestamp. Okay, so currently all of this is showing red because we haven't executed our previous nodes. So if we come in here, we can see that after running the edit fields node, we basically have our lead name, lead email, lead company, lead message, and timestamp. So in here, this should technically show green now, but in case it isn't, you can just drag your lead name in, followed by the lead email, followed by the lead company, then the lead message, and lastly the timestamp. Okay, so that is it. You can execute this step, and now can you see our Slack notification has been sent out. So if I come in here, can you see we've been notified that, oh, there's a new lead alert. This is their name, email, company, message, and time. And just a small hack. So inside our message, you also see this link saying automated with this N8N workflow. If you wanted to remove that message or link, what you would do is you come into your Slack node, you come down to options, click on include link to workflow, and then you toggle this off. And now if you execute this step, you will see the node executed successfully. And if we come up to our Slack channel, can you see now we have the new lead alert, but this time we don't have the additional automated with this N8N workflow. So now that we have our Slack message set up, we are going to come back to our instruction doc, and next we're going to set up our Gmail node. So what we're going to do here is we're going to come in, we're going to click Gmail, we're going to click send a message. And what we're going to do now is first connect our Gmail account. If you haven't done so, you can just click create new credential. You can click OAuth to sign in with Google. It will take you to the Google login screen. And once that's done, you will see your connection set up. So once you've got your Gmail connected, you're going to choose resource message, operation send to, we're going to take this value from what we received. So we're going to choose our lead email. The subject of this, we're going to copy across from our community instructions. So I'm going to choose copy this, and here I'm going to make sure this is set to expression. I'm going to copy this lead name field in so that it's personalized, and here it gives you a preview of what will be sent. So this is going to be the subject. Thank you for your interest, Adriano Menezes. And for the message, we are also going to copy that from here. And if you're wondering what these BR tags are, which you can also see here, these are basically just new line characters. So it makes sure that the email is properly formatted when sending it. So now that this is done, if we come out of this, we can see our entire automation is set up. We will save this. If I come back into Postman and just send this data, it says the webhook was not registered. That's because we've not started this workflow. So once we click on execute, it says waiting for trigger event. If I come back into Postman and click send, you can see workflow was started. We will see that the edit fields got the value in its output. If we come to our Slack node, we can see that this was the data sent out. Let us verify it. Here we can see that the new data has been received. And if we come into my Gmail, we can also see that a new email has been received with the name, the query. We'll be in touch, and it's all neatly formatted. Similarly, here you can also see this email was sent out automatically with N8N. If you wanted to disable that, you would come into your Gmail node. Under options, you can click add option. Um, Under append N8N attribution, turn this off, hit save. And if we were to come in and just say execute step again, it says it's sent. So here, if I check this, can you see now we no longer have that N8N link at the bottom? So now that we've got our Gmail node set up as well, we're just going to do some basic error handling. So for example, like when this form was being submitted or this data is being passed through, what would happen if the email was missing from our data, right? It wouldn't know where to send this email to. And just to see that in action is, if we start executing this workflow, I go back to my postman and I remove this email and send the data, it will say workflow has started. But can you see we get this error saying problem in node send a message one, invalid email address. And that's basically because there was no email data for it to send through, right? So even if we check our edit fields, we see in here that the lead email is blank. So it doesn't know where to send the email confirmation. And so now that we have our email message being sent out, I'm just going to go back to the community instructions and just give you a brief introduction into error handling. So now, if we look at our workflow, what would happen to this workflow if we did not submit an email in this form data, right? It would likely throw an error because this email node is not going to know to which email to send the email to, right? And so let's take a quick look at that. If I run this automation, I hit send, the workflow was started. But can you see we get this error saying invalid email address? And expectedly so, right? Because if we look at our edit fields object, the lead email was blank. And so, like a more graceful way of probably handling this, there are many ways of handling errors, but this is the easiest and simplest one just to begin with, is to maybe use like an if node after our webhook to check if all the required fields exist. So for example, we would do that using, we delete this connection. After this, we come in, we click on if, we add that in. The value we want to check is the email field. And this is equal to, we're going to replace with Boolean is false. And we are going to copy this function across from here. Just paste that in. And this dot trim function, basically what it does is it removes all the additional white spaces before and at the end of any string. And it basically checks is if this is not equal to a blank string, then we are going to continue with this workflow. So in the true case, we are going to continue. In the false case, we may send a message or notify someone in our team. So if I click on the false case and add a Slack message to a channel, so I had created a channel called Demo N8N Leads Errors. And so we may just say something simple, error in your form, there is a missing email, please investigate ASAP. Okay, so if I save out of this, now if we look at our workflow, and now if I start running it, I go back to Postman and I hit send, the workflow was started. And now can you see it has gone here and we still ran into the same problem? That's because our check condition was wrong. So if the email field is blank, this we want to set to true, not false. So if this is true, then we want to execute it. But if it was false, then it's going to send a message here. So if we check in here, and yep, the message gets sent. I needed to run the workflow again, but let me just quickly do that. So here we've got to set this value to true, not false. And once that is done, if I run this workflow and I submit this data, now, can you see it started this webhook, but because this condition was false, it's sent this message. And if I check our Slack channel, we see this message saying there was an error in your form. There is a missing email. Please investigate ASAP. And this kind of informs the team that, oh, there's something likely wrong with the form data you're receiving. So in this video, we learned how to notify you or your team members on multiple platforms like Slack and Gmail. We learned the basics of a workflow structure in N8N, what HTTP webhooks are, data transformation, and error handling fundamentals. That's it for this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.